FAVMI presents Unfolding Mental Illness, hosted by Saraswati Suresh.
Hello, everyone. Family presents its episode on unfolding mental illness. We are also the Western Zone of Families Alliance on Mental Illness, FACE-Me India, founded by Dr. Nirmala Srinivasan. Through our episodes, we strive to educate and support families about mental health, providing them with valuable resources by mental health professionals and lived experiences. If you are a family seeking guidance, understanding, and community support, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel at favme.in. I am Saraswati Suresh, host, and my co-host is Dr. Sachin Ganodkar. Our episode today is Family Carers' Distress and Coping Mechanisms. Behind every person living with mental illness, especially in India, there's often a parent, a sibling, a spouse, or a child quietly carrying the weight of responsibility, love, and worry. They are the shining light on these group of people who often struggle and remain unseen. While the devotion is unwavering, emotional, mental, and physical toll and financial toll can be immense on families. In this conversation, we'll explore the hidden distress among carers experience from guilt and exhaustion to the strain of caregiving, which places on relationships too. We'll also talk about coping strategies, ways to strengthen communications, and the role of community and support groups. And to have this conversation with us, we have a very senior and a well-known psychiatrist, Dr. Anand Nadkarni. He completed his MBBS and MD in psychological medicine from Seth GS Medical College and KEM Hospital, Mumbai. He has helped in establishing the Muktangan De-Addiction Center in 1986 and started the Institute of Psychological Health, which we all know as IPH, along with other colleagues in 1990. Today he is the managing trustee of IPH. The mission of IPH is destigmatization, reducing the gap of insurance and misconceptions between society and mental health. IPH is also the official teaching center recognized by Mumbai University, SNDT University, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, and MIT University. Besides his practice, Dr. Nadkarni is on the board of many NGOs, a consultant, an author of many books, a columnist. He has written songs in Marathi and Hindi, and especially an amazing orator. This is a very short synopsis of him, and he has a list of achievements. It's truly an honor, sir, to have you with us and have a conversation with us, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sir, so we'll start with the first question of, the invisible burden. That what are the common forms of distress that family carers, while supporting their loved ones with mental illness, generally face?
There is a very long list of that. And you mentioned guilt, but there is a lot of shame also. That to have someone in the family to have that mental illness. I had my maternal uncle, in Marathi we say mama, who was having schizophrenia. And I know that in my entire family, extended family, at that time nobody dared to talk about him. In fact, me as a child had a lot of curiosity because I had memories of my mama when I was a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, and he had completed his master's in English literature. And then we did not know where my mama disappeared. And whenever we kids used to talk about my mama, we were hush-hushed by the elders. It took me some years to understand that he had a mental illness and that he was kept in mental hospitals in our state of Maharashtra during 17 long years. And when I was in 9th standard, he was brought in Thane, the city where I live. which has a very big mental hospital. And then my mother always had that burden, and she said that now that the brother is there in her city, she would at least send him lunch. And by that time, my other mamas, had arranged for a private attendant and all that. So he was a little better than other inmates there. And on a holiday, when the attendant was not there, my father used to carry that tiffin. And along with my father, I went, and that was my first ever visit to a mental hospital. And when I saw my mama, I was surprised because he was not a personality, he was only a figure there. And the moment he saw my father, he rushed in, not for food, but he wanted a bidi, hmm, to smoke, right? And when I saw him, I was emotionally very disturbed. And that is why uh, I could see that what my mother must have undergone, what the family must have undergone. And therefore, as they say, charity begins at home. When I started my post graduation in psychiatry, uh, we took him as the first person whom we will bring back to family. And therefore, I would rather share as a caregiver than as an expert. So uh, I think that's the first role is scientific, but this role is more emotional. And then we had to convince all these maternal uncles that now 17 years is a very long time, and the family has to share the responsibility. Which, very fortunately, my family, maternal family, took in good spirits. In fact, I remember that conversation which I had with all my other maternal uncles. And then I told them how they also had the traits of my mama, but their traits were constructive, their traits were channelized, and the only thing had happened with this mama was that the chemical imbalance got decompensated. I mean, the chemical balance got decompensated, and he got his own paranoia. So, one of my mamas was a police officer. I said, "You are also paranoid." but, but you have channelized that paranoia, and now you are searching victims. Another very dominant trait that I have on my maternal side is obsessive trait. So I told my other mamas that both of you are very obsessive, but it has helped you in your career. And that was a very interesting session, which I remember, which in a way helped them to convert to this side. And then we had, very interestingly, to cut the long story short, 23 years my mama spent with family. And
Amazing.
everybody took charge. And one of my maternal uncles led that bunch. We had a family trust, we had everything. All my cousins contributed. And one of my cousins, who is also a psychiatrist, his last days were spent with her in Raipur. And she had a home on one uh, floor and hospital on the other floor. So he passed away after 23 years, like this, staying in the family. So it was a very long, arduous journey for us. And what we discovered there was that it's very important to stand as a team. Everybody who is interested in the welfare of what we call as the Shubharthi now. We call all the people from chronic mental illness as Shubharthis, and we call the caregivers as Shubhankars. So it's very important for the Shubharthi that the Shubhankars constitute a team of family members and well wishers so that not one person is burdened. In my mama's case, we were able to do that with a lot of convincing involved. But in our family trust, we had trustees from all generations, right? So the cousins also got involved in the whole thing. And then I realized that when there is a limited number of caregivers involved, entire burden falls on the first kin, which happens, I think, to a great extent in the natural course of events. But the endeavor right from the beginning should be to have a support circle, and people can help in different ways in their limited capacities, but the sum total becomes more. And for that, it's very important not to deny, it's very important not to share, right? And I think as caregivers, I mean, the lesson that I learned was that do not hide. Hmm. And many times in our society say that if we do not hide, then what will happen? Many times patients tell me now also, we have not shared this with anybody in the family. Why? Because what will people, in Marathi we say, what will four people? Huh? So, चार जण काय म्हणते? Right? So, four people. I say those four people, tell me where are those four people? Huh? Those four people are actually in our mind. Hmm. So, we shouldn't heed to those imaginary four people. And how many people we can get into the support circle? In their own limited way, they could help. But network is very important. I mean, your group is a wonderful step in networking only, no? And all the members are sharing with each other. And what does it help? How does it help? That you get solutions, correct? And it's a long, arduous journey. Like for my mama, 17 years plus 23 years, so 40 years. And before that, he was symptomatic and was untreated for 5 years, so 45 years. He got his breakdown in 20s, so he died in 70 when he was in his 70s. Such a long journey. If limited people have that burden, becomes very difficult. But if you develop that, I mean, when I look at my role as a mental health professional and as a family member in this episode, the role was that I used my skills of psychoeducation to knit my extended family around the welfare of this mama. So if I summarize my role in the whole thing, and it's very important not to challenge any emotion that you will get as a caregiver. We get the entire range of emotions as caregiver. I call them, if you want to remember, I call them as, gadbad. So in Marathi, we say gadbad. So GAD, BAD. So G is guilt, A is anger, right? D is depression, uh, right? B is blame, A is anxiety, and D is dejection. So that is how there is emotional gadbad, we see. So we will have emotional gadbad as caregivers all the time. We should not challenge it. We should say that emotions are not to be challenged. Emotions are to be respected. Faulty thoughts, irrational thoughts are to be challenged. Right. So that is something now which is very important. When as Shubhankars we are interacting with our Shubharthina, don't challenge emotions. Hmm. Challenge the thoughts behind those emotions. For example, suppose the Shubharthi says that, oh, I'm very afraid they are after me. So then you have to say, I can understand your anxiety. I can understand your fear. But now let's go towards the thoughts that are giving rise to this anxiety and fear. Right? So when you take two thoughts, then the reality factor comes. But emotions, don't say these are wanted, unwanted. Don't say, oh, you are a brave man. You are 22-year-old and you are anxious. How can you be anxious? You know? So that is something that we have to do. And also, we need to understand as caregivers different emotional patterns within one family. I have seen that there are parents of a Shubharthi, and the mother is having a lot of expressed emotions, and the father is stoic, in his face. Correct, correct. And then it's important to tell them that these are your emotionalities. And in emotionality, there is nothing right or wrong. Hmm. So let's find out what is the way of expression of both of you and how both of you can synthesize. Otherwise, the blame comes. The mother says, इनको कुछ पड़ी नहीं है. Hmm. He just does not express. And the father says she over expresses and she is so anxious. You give her one tablet. Hmm. So it's very important to accept emotions as a team and see that all of us have different ways of expressing emotions. And very interestingly, in our Shubhartis, we see they are more introvert. The extreme of introversion, we call it schizoid, correct? And in one of their parents, you see introversion. Sometimes you see it in both parents.
Parents.
Sometimes you see one introvert, one extrovert. So these traits are compensated in us as caregivers
Yeah.
and decompensated in them. That's the only difference between we and them, right? Sorry, I.
No, no, absolutely. I mean, you gave us so many messages in this, the first 10 minutes that you spoke also. I mean, I really like the concept of actually creating an entire network of people within the system, not just depending upon two or three people at home. I think that's a beautiful message because then you're sharing the entire, the burden doesn't fall on one person and in the limited capacity, as you rightly said. I think that's a beautiful message. And also about the emotions. In fact, that was one of my questions which I had was, how do you reframe the emotions of guilt and shame? And you spoke about that also.
And you use a very nice word, Saraswati, that is reframing.
Yeah,
Many times our Shubharthis, na, they are not able to express their emotions in words.
correct.
For them, na, everything is tension
Yeah,
or everything is anger.
yeah,
Or they will just say, I am disturbed. And they will not see many of us, I mean, Shubhankars also, we are not emotionally very literate.
correct.
And Shubharthis also may not be emotionally literate, right?
Yeah,
So they will use a all encompassing word as disturbance, anger, tension. Now it is up to us to find out the shades,
ha,
right? That if my Shubharti says, after you, I don't know what is going to happen to me,
ha,
then it is worry.
yeah,
Whether I will crack this interview or not hmm, is performance anxiety or outcome anxiety,
correct.
correct? Huh. If they attack me in the road, then that is fear.
Yes,
Hmm? So, worry, anxiety, fear, there are shades. And these shades are very, very important. My uh, sibling has gone to USA for further studies,
mm,
and I am a Shubharthi, correct? So I will just sit, and my Shubhankar will ask, "How are you feeling?" I will say, "Okay."
ha,
Are you feeling sad that he went? Hmm. I'll say, "Hmm." Right. But is it only sadness? I am also feeling sad. What are the what is the other emotion that you are feeling? So then my Shubharti will look at me. Then I have to say, is it also a bit of happiness? We have to give that word.
yeah,
Then the Shubharti says, oh yes, I also feel proud. Then one sentence will come after your five sentences. But then you'll say there is sadness, there is happiness, there is some pride, correct? Now, do you feel, what do you feel about you when he went? I will feel lonely. So that loneliness will come. So you have to be patient in collecting
Those emotions.
emotional data from the Shubharti. You know, feed them that. And remember one thing very, very clearly. Many times, Shubharthis help caregivers in their emotions.
Ha. So
Huh. So true. Because you are touching that healthy part of emotionality in a Shubharti.
correct.
And then suddenly the Shubharti gives you a very empathic response. Suddenly, huh? Out of
Correct. Out of the blue.
where, that response will come and tell you, you must be feeling very sad, mama.
Ha.
Something like that will come and you'll say, wow.
Yeah.
So that that is that emotional dialogue na,
Correct.
between Shubhartis and Shubhankars is very important. Otherwise, how is the dialogue? It is action oriented.
Or it's very transactional.
Very transactional. Did you take your tablets?
Yeah.
Did you go to your class? Hmm. Very, very transactional.
Yeah.
So that emotional reframing is a very important aspect.
I can completely relate to you also, because when we also started on this journey, you know, uh, our first half was we couldn't understand, and we were also nasty in the way we spoke. Our communication was bad, and then it became transactional, and then now we have incorporated the emotional part of it, and that's when that safe and supportive environment has made the changes. So I completely relate to what you are saying.
And see what happens is we professionals also have to learn this.
Yeah.
It's not only the Shubhartis and the Shubhankars, because we as psychiatrists now, sometimes while giving these kind of informations now, we are too dry. Hmm.
Ha.
So, sometimes it has been happening with me for some time that caregivers come to me, and their Shubharthi is being treated by another psychiatrist.
Uh,
The Shubharthi is admitted somewhere, somewhere, somewhere. So I am not a treating psychiatrist of that person. But just because the parents feel that हाँ आपसे बोल के हमको अच्छा लगता है, so I do not impinge on the rights of the treating psychiatrist, and I'm very careful about it. I tell them that these are the things which are there for you to discuss with your treating psychiatrist. But now I'll give you an example how we people sometimes are emotionally illiterate. That is, there is this molecule called clozapine,
correct.
and the Shubharthi is in the stage of illness where having that use of that clozapine is rational. So now the treating psychiatrist, rather than saying about the rational use, talked about what will happen to the blood count. Hmm. And that you will have to do CBC, you will have to do that. So, what happens when you are introducing something new? Talk about the merit first and the demerits last. No? But according to protocol, the family members have to be given that the side effects of schizophrenia. So, I am not caught. Very defensive.
Yeah.
No, we mental health professionals sometimes unnecessarily become so defensive. It's okay to give that data, but how will you give it? That in some people you see this, that is why we will do it, but this side effect is dose related, etc., etc., etc.
Correct.
And this is not a new molecule, it's an old molecule, it has been used by people. So many things, so many ways to address emotions of the caregivers. So it's all play of emotions, whether in the triangle of Shubharti, Shubhankar, and mental health professionals.
It's all about emotions.
It's all about emotion.
So the gadbad of emotions happens at all places.
Yeah. Yeah, we people are not immune from gadbad at all.
I like your acronym of gadbad. It's going to remain with me now. So how does of course today most of us are still having this small network, only the husband and wife or the spouse taking and having the responsibility which they're taking. So how does this prolonged burden or caregiving affect the family carer?
Uh, Actually, it can work, I mean, in a negative way on the coping and confidence of the caregivers also,
Hmm.
right? And uh, what is very important as carers to see, the functional value of the Shubharti.
Huh.
And the functional value of Shubharti varies. Even in one Shubharti at different stages and phases, that functional value varies. And it's very important that the variations in the functionality, how, what part is related to illness, what part is related to personality,
Hmm.
and what part is related to mere habit, that
Okay.
is condition.
Huh.
That is something that the caregiver has to decipher
Huh.
and probably discuss with the treating mental health professional.
Okay.
I feel that now this is his personality. I feel that this is not illness.
Hmm.
I feel that this is only habit.
Hmm.
It's very important to discuss with your mental health professional because all three reside in the Shubharti,
Okay.
right? And also very, very important point that none of us should forget that there is some amount of healthy mind in every Shubharti,
Correct.
as there is some amount of unhealthy mind in all of us. Right?
So true.
So, how to address that healthy mind?
Yeah.
That is the thrust. We talk of today in mental health positive psychology.
Yes.
So, what is positive psychology? That even in a long-standing illness in a person, trying to explore what are the healthy parts which I can address to. Hmm. Then what happens now? My initial statement, which comes, oh, here is a responsibility.
Huh.
I can also see that here is probably some help also, you know, to me,
Huh.
right? And that is very important because if you address the functionality, na, the Shubharti feels endowed and empowered. Hmm. What is very, very important to note is that I talked to you about my mama, but me and my wife, uh, for last 23 years, we in our house we stay with a Shubharti.
Hmm.
So we are from my wife's side also. We are caregivers.
Okay.
Mhm. And one of our very close family members, she stays with us for last 23 years. She
Okay.
is having this illness for last more than 55 years.
Wow.
Is in her 80s and functioning.
Okay.
And she has contributed to our family immensely. Hmm. So I am caregiver day in and day out, me and my wife. Uh,
Lovely.
so from paternal side,
As well as a maternal side.
from her side, from my side.
Correct.
So, and we are staying with a person having this illness for all these years. Our approach has been that whatever is the strength, now
So true.
give it trust. Don't give it push, because we give only push. Give trust, then they will push themselves. You know, tell them that you do this. Now, uh, our Shubharthi, she will do certain functions so meticulously in the kitchen that we are, 100% trust on her.
Correct. It will happen in that perfectly.
And now with age, with illness, some here and there, some mistakes will happen, right? Ah, and that tea or that coffee that this person makes for all of us, the Shubharthi, it on that particular day, something may go wrong. So it's okay. Huh.
But that happens with us also, no?
That happens with us also. Correct? So if you focus on that, na, then your burden becomes much less.
Lovely. Super.
And respecting that person's presence
Yeah.
is very, very important.
So true.
We get so many people from so many fields and walks of life in our home. We introduce our Shubharthi as a very valuable member of our family.
Family. Yes.
Hmm. And I think that is also very important
Yes.
because our Shubharthi is an avid reader. Hmm. So somebody from literature comes, when that person goes, our Shubharthi will ask us, is that the same person who has written that book?
Okay.
You
That's
know?
like mind-boggling.
Yeah. So, and I can tell you that this Shubharti has contributed in the development of our son in such a fantastic manner. Hmm. Only because
The,
we always said that there is a healthy mind.
yeah.
So in psychopathology also there lies positive psychology.
So true.
And that as caregivers we have to understand. And then what happens, Shubharti becomes very, very uninhibited to talk about symptoms with you.
Yes.
you know so my daughter is also a psychiatrist.
Okay.
So our Shubharthi na, now she is married, but when she was here with us, she was her doctor.
Okay.
Huh. She used to talk about all her symptoms with her. Now she had inhibitions with me
Ha.
to discuss. But now that daughter is not there, na, she comes and she says, and now her insight is so good that
Yeah.
she says that I have started hearing things, but I know that they are not true.
True.
But do I have to do something with my tablets?
Okay.
Huh?
That's
most
amazing.
most compliant. Hmm? Because na, what has happened is that acceptance of all her experiences.
Yes.
Hmm? Over all these 23, 24 years, she has been staying with us. Right. And that is so important to look after these people and how this healthy thing can come up. It can come up in a very different way.
Yeah.
2.5 years back, we got a pair of kittens in our family, and the person who has most benefited is our Shubhat.
Okay.
Right? Those three people are now inseparable.
Inseparable. Okay.
You know, two cats with her. And what is very interesting is whatever our efforts of socialization could not do, hmm,
The kittens have made your
there
job
is
easy.
two cats, she will talk to them so much in one day that she will not talk to us in 10 days. Hmm.
So cute.
So this was Savita's idea, my wife's idea. But that idea has so much given us kind of positive returns, that I'm very sure she's happier, because those cats addressed positive psychology.
Yes.
Right? Amidst all the uh, psychopathology,
Yes.
right? Someone, Sachin, will possibly resonate with this when you have a senior Shubharti
Yeah.
in,
That's so
in
true because
your
I completely understand, the chapter of acceptance, the family carer, when they have that acceptance, and that itself brings about the entire change at home. And,
absolute.
we always, I think, irrespective of, its mental illness or anything, we always like to talk about the negatives first and want to address it and correct that rather than saying that, can I take the positives to the next level? You know,
Sure.
so
And see what we always think, me and Savita, that she's a valuable family member first,
yes.
and then a Shubharti.
Ha, correct.
So that is so important because when these people enter in their 80s, na,
Yeah,
we believe that their presence is good for us.
correct.
What they do, what they are able to do, what they are not able to do. Okay, these are part of the details.
Absolutely.
But that they are there.
Yes.
That is so important. Na. So I think that value of a Shubharti is very important. And I think the presence of illness should not demean the value of a human being.
True. So you were talking about, introducing the family and, whenever somebody comes home, and
Yeah.
also creating that network. But most of the families, you see uh, people have deserted them and the relationship is not very healthy. Uh,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of, because of that also, there's a lot of conflicts at home and lack of understanding. How do you think the family carers can address that?
What is very important for family carers, na, number one, to have regular discussions with the psychiatrist,
Okay.
regarding the psychopathology, clinical part, personality part, and habit part. Hmm. Second important point is that we as caregivers should be in a position to say that my Shubharti is a very, very important, integral part of my life. And my Shubharti is not equal to my life. Because many times I see in carers that the Shubhankars, na, they take that responsibility and for them the Shubharti becomes life.
Yeah.
And then the burden is more, the gadbad is more, correct?
Correct.
So it's very important that my Shubharti is a very important part of my life. And therefore, I will look after my well being,
Hmm.
not only my coping, but my well being.
Hmm.
Many times I tell Shubhankars, the caregivers, that if you want to go to a music recital
Hmm.
or sing a drama or a movie, you deserve it. Hmm.
Correct.
Right? You deserve your vacation, you deserve your light moments, you know, because people feel very guilty,
Yeah.
hmm, right? That why should I enjoy when such a close person in my family is not able to enjoy? How should I enjoy? So I tell them your enjoyment is for better looking after of that person.
Yes.
Look at it that way.
Yeah.
Huh? But do not deny yourself of those light moments, the moments where you feel good about yourself with others. So it is not the devotion is very important, but we should be not devoted to the cause of caregiving and not devoted to the person.
Well said. So well said. So well said.
I think that is what I have also discovered as a caregiver
Yeah.
in the family for last 23 years. That you should be devoted to the cause, not to the person.
Yeah. And sometimes what happens also, people go through this guilt, that if because I'm going to a recital, the allowed one will feel bad about it. In fact, I feel it's the other way around.
Ah,
The
ah,
loud one feels bad if we are not
yeah, yeah,
joining
yeah,
and
yeah.
going for that, something which you like to do,
That's right. I have that experience with Ayur Shubharti also.
Yeah.
Mano, whenever we go out, say me and my wife, on so 2 days or 3 days somewhere, she now tells us that three of us will stay nicely.
Ha. The little two kittens. Absolutely fantastic. I'll now hand it over to Sachin to take over the next set of
Yeah,
questions. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you, Saraswati. Thank you, sir. I think it's been a great conversation, and I think your experience of your maternal uncle, where you mentioned that I think it started with the hush hush, and your evolution as a psychiatrist, and how you were able to actually handle it over a period of time, and also your dedication to the cause of caregiving, and also what Saraswati mentioned, the kind of complexities caregivers actually face in their lives. Just to take it further, sir, uh, how does stigma, social and self stigma, worsen a caregiver's distress? So, in that case, as a psychiatrist, you are able to actually get people together. But if a caregiver is basically battling it alone, then how does one handle it? The other question is, what are the changes required in our healthcare system? Because now even psychiatrists and a lot of people say that there are microscopic changes in the brain which causes a change in thought, behavior, emotion, and which is chemical imbalance, as you suggested. But mental health is still a little esoteric because people connect it with other things. So how do you look at the stigma part, and whether you, as Saraswati mentioned the word reframing, should we reframe mental health as a brain disorder, or should we change the name of hospitals in a certain sense? These are the questions we wanted to ask about system and stigma.
yes, this is a barrage of questions. So I'll first you help me in between. Huh?
Yes, sir.
I'll address some parts, and I may be wrong in sequence, and then you can remind me that this is not addressed. Then I will address it. Let's look at the role of stigma. So stigma, that was very, very stark some years back when say I started working in this field now 45 years back. So the stigma at that time was very stark. Stark in the sense all mental illnesses are madness. Hmm. They give shocks. Very stark, and shocks they give, etc. etc. Now, in sections of our society, the stark stigma still prevails. And in sections of the society, that stark stigma has given rise to subtle stigma. What is subtle stigma? Subtle stigma means, oh, psychiatric drugs cause a lot of side effects. Hmm. Right? Huh. Can only counseling help my Shubharti? Which is also a stigma, huh? But it is very subtly said. It's not said that I don't want tablets. Hmm. But it is said, will counseling help? So now it's very important that stigma has a history. Stigma has transitions. And stigma is not something that will leave us in anybody's lifetime. It is going to express itself. And therefore, we have to continue to make statements of destigmatization. Now, how do we make statements of destigmatization? Now, right now, we are making one. Through this interaction, we are making a statement on destigmatization. Correct. When I am sharing with you all my personal details as a caregiver, I am destigmatizing. Correct. I am telling you that as a mental health person also, I can have family members. very close family members, right, who can have a mental issue, right? Telling that, sharing that is very important on a personal level, correct? So, personal statement, group statements, institutional statements in terms of more inclusive services. We psychiatrists look at our patients and we look at caregivers as appendages. And we are also transactional with them. Supervise the medication, tell me this, tell me that. And we hardly acknowledge the individuality of our caregivers. So, as a system, also, we need to acknowledge our work with caregivers for last so many years, almost 25, 30 years, has given us a very important learning that one empowered caregiver is equal to one compliant Shubharthi. So that approach of the mental health system to take everybody on board is very, very important. As far as the care system goes. Now, in our daycare workshop, we have a production unit which is a cooperative of Shubharthis and Shubhankars. Everywhere there is another group of Shubhankars about which I would like to talk. That is, they are Shubhankars who do not have a Shubharthi in their family. But they are devoted to the cause of caregiving. And that is one of our strengths of all the activities of caregivers that we do. Because the caregivers with a Shubharthina, they are, whether you like it or not, but some burden is there. Correct. But when you get those people who do not have a Shubharthi to look after, but who are dedicated to the cause of caregiving, then what happens? They bring in a new energy. And we have a method of training these people, sensitizing these people, selecting these people. But they are a very important arm of our activities. And that is also, in a way, effective community participation. And then it destigmatizes on that level. When you have Shubhankars who do not have a Shubharthi, and still they are caregivers. Correct? So this is the kind of weaving different layers of the society. Correct? Now, when our Shubharthis have their stalls at different Diwali fairs and all that, we are making a social statement that these are the people who have made it, and then they say we are Shubharthis and we are having the illness called schizophrenia. All right. So that is a social statement. We go to our channel Avahan IPH on YouTube and go to a file that is called as Dvija Puraskar. So that we give to the Shubharthis and the Shubhankars. And now they are given nationally, we give them. And you will see their interviews also, which is a very important material that we have produced. Getting all those stories on YouTube, right, of the caregivers. We have a string of short films of caregivers on our channel. You see them. They are very widely seen. They are 3 films on caregivers are there. So you can see those. You can use them as psychoeducational material. It is a statement of destigmatization, right? So these are many, many ways of involving as many layers. Now, our activities of Shubharthis and Shubhankars are carried from a place and land that is given by the public health Department of Government of Maharashtra. Now, that is their participation, isn't it? I mean, they are providing what they can provide, right? So, what will be important that keep on making statements of destigmatization. So that is very important, and get the system along with you wherever you can. Get this community along with you wherever you can. Correct? Now, looking at schizophrenia as a only organic illness will be a little one-sided, I feel. Mental health has to be looked from many perspectives. One of them will be organic, so it will have neurochemicals and all that. One will be psychological, the cognitive, emotive, behavioral. One would be social, sociological. So there are different perspectives, and I think every perspective brings in its own value when your goal is to destigmatize. For destigmatization, you will have to also have role models. The Dvija Puraskar gives the role models of Shubharthis and the caregivers. Correct? So we'll require role modeling. You will require to reach to the society in, I will say, popular ways. Popular ways means, for example, these short films are there. I was also associated with a film called Devrai, which was the first ever feature film made on schizophrenia, which went on to win a national award. So, based on my experience of association with the film, I wrote a book in Marathi. And now the film and the book become a educational kit. Hmm. So, these are the ways of involvement. So, destigmatization is going to be a continuous process. And we will have to work on all the different levels, right? To involve all levels of society, right? Sachin, now you can tell me whatever I have left.
No, sir, I think you have covered everything. I think with your earlier message, and I think this important part of an appendage which you mentioned, it was actually very well put, because, and this is a very important message that if you want a compliant patient, I think you also need to look at the caregiver. So that was like a mathematical formula which can actually help a lot of caregivers and family groups. So I think that was a very, very important message. And also to reiterate that it's a biopsychosocial model. And I think we need to look at all the factors so that it gets addressed in its totality. So I think all the questions were answered. Uh,
Thank
uh, and we just also wanted to carry it further, saying that today a lot of people will listen to the podcast or whenever we share it. What is the message, sir, you would like to give to caregivers? And what could actually make caregiver groups more effective, based on your extensive experience with your family, as you mentioned, as an eminent psychiatrist, as a kind of awareness session which you have carried for so long, and your entire experience?
I would say that even our Shubharthis and the Shubhankars are activists in the journey of community mental health, because the mental health movement has to be inclusive, and therefore why should it leave even Shubhartis, right? And again, we talk about positive psychology, so why not Shubhartis? We have a wonderful group, support group called Trendsetters, that is functioning Shubhartis, but not only of schizophrenia, but OCD, bipolar, you know. So, and they have named it themselves as trendsetters. Hmm. It's a lovely group. So, they are themselves becoming change agents. Is something which is so important. So don't leave them as well. So wherever there is psychopathology, seek for positive psychology. Wherever there is average psychology, seek empowerment. When you meet a person with empowerment, try to convert that person into a change agent. So that is the way we will have to cope up with stigma.
No, I think that's an excellent answer. And any last message you would like to give us and Saraswati and the entire uh, uh, caregiver fraternity, which we can actually take home today? And it was a lovely session, I think, sharing your experience, which also brings that emotional value, and not only the scientific angle, which you rightly mentioned, and the kind of challenges you also have faced and you have also tried to bring into your practice. So anything which one should carry back as
Uh,
a last point.
yes, people require something crisp. So that we all remember. Yes, I think it will be this that believe in the goodness that people have. Because when you look at society, when you look at all fields, badness is projected so much that we many times start doubting whether there is goodness at all. And I think all our caregivers are spreaders of goodness in their own way. They should look at themselves as they are special people in that sense. Everybody gets an avenue to experience and spread goodness. Our caregivers, our Shubhankars, have got it because they are having Shubhartis in their life. So, you and me will stay today, will not stay tomorrow. But the message of goodness has to stay forever.
So beautifully said, sir. Thank you so much for having this conversation with us. On behalf of Sachin and me, a heartfelt gratitude, sir. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.